In this video, I'm going to go over the key differences between Microsoft Loop and Notion. Here on the screen, we have the Notion homepage or your dashboard. On your left navigation bar, left bar, you have your selector to change between different workspaces. You have your Notion search. You could search your entire environment. And you have your Notion AI. Home is what you're currently looking at. Here at the top section, these are recently viewed items, and you have your Notion calendar. Also, there's a link here that pops open either in a new browser tab, or you could download your Notion calendar app for your phone or devices, and you can interact with your Notion calendar that integrates with Google Calendar for sure. And it's a great way of having an overview of all the items that you're working on when you're collaborating with others and planning out your days and tasks and projects. So that is a very helpful tool to have. So here you could see one item in my calendar, Evernote versus OneNote. And of course, you could have multiple calendars, but at the moment, I'm only displaying this one calendar. You have your settings, of course. And here's a favorite Maven Academy, which you're currently looking at this moment on YouTube. And here on the left, I would consider these pages or sub pages or sections. These are ways you could kind of organize the information and categorize the information that you're working on. You could see I've kind of prefix these items with maybe 1, 2, 3, 4. This is an inspiration from the para method from Tiago Forte. So if you want to hear more about that, I'll link that in the description below. So let's expand on works, and you could see that's a subsection. Let's see if this has more subsections as well. So these are all the videos and ideas and status and my calendar of Maven Academy videos here on YouTube. So let's collapse that for a second. And we have a calendar, like I mentioned, and template. It has a massive community behind it, or you can browse and integrate different templates. So this is one of the amazing benefits of using Notion. So instead of trying to tweak and mix and match and configure this entire tool for yourself, you could just quickly go out to the community. Some are paid, some are free, and you could quickly have a starting point of setting up your environment in your business and your systems and start using Evernote, either from the simplest of tasks to the most massive of enterprises that you would like to take on. And of course, you have trash and support. So let's take a look into Maven Academy here that I have. So what you're looking at here is what you would consider a database. So if you're not familiar with what a database is, try and think of this as a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet or a Google Sheets. So you have your rows and columns, and you have information about information, or data about data, or metadata, or properties. There's so many different ways, so many different words. So tomato, tomato. So I'm going to try and make this really easy to understand without being too technical. So imagine that you have a phone book, and each phone book is a person, and a person has an address. So imagine these are a different person, and a person lives on a street, and that street has a house number, and the house number or building number has a floor number, then an apartment number, and you keep going granular down into that phone book. So the person would be the item, and each of those additional information, it would be considered a metadata. In this example on the screen, I have my video that I want to record. Here we have Notion versus Loop. So that is the database item. And then more details about that video is like, when would I want to publish that? So that date would be considered a metadata or a property. And what is the status of that video? Well, right now I'm recording it, so that's in green. So I'm currently recording this video. what episode number is that? That is episode 14. So that would be considered like a metadata or property, or you could use the word tag. So you're tagging information. So you could go back and you can search. Here's the search, or you could search up here and also interact with the AI to get information about what you're working on. And also your team members can also see what's going on, and everyone could kind of collaborate to make things more easy and manageable. And you could also go back and kind of see charts and trends of what's going on with the information in your environment and in your processes. I can expand on this a bit more. I can expand on this a bit more. You could open this side panels. You can see all the different tags and stuff as well. Sponsored, if this was sponsored, and this could also generate a AI summary. Let's do a live demo. Then I'm going to click on this and let AI does its thing. And boom, it did. Amazing job. I have a link to a Google Docs if I want to integrate that as well. And here's a sample content. Let me just make that a little bit bigger so you could kind of see what's going on. Here, I could also add a cover if you want to have things looking cool. And here is like an icon if you want to change an icon as well. Let's change that to a red mountain for now. So you just give you an example of what you could kind of do with your Notion space and Notion content. I have my title, etc., my thumbnail title, video description, sample timestamps. There's some hyperlinks. You could include videos, PDF. The list is endless of what you could integrate. Let's hit enter. Enter again, give some space. Forward slash. As you could see, you could include sub pages, to-do list, checklist, quotes. It's an extensive amount of information here that you could work with. I'm not going to go into all the details at the moment. Just want to give you a quick overview that this is a very extensive tool. You could make it as broad or as narrow as you'd like to make it based on your objective and use cases. So I'll leave a link for sure, so you could go in and kind of see what you could do with Notion, and you could see by this long list. I keep scrolling, keep expanding, that you could integrate it with so many different tools. So so just to get an idea, this is very extensive. It has a massive community with templates that you could integrate. In this video, though, I just want to highlight the key differences between Notion and Microsoft Loop. So Loop is really if you're in the Microsoft ecosystem. If you're in the Microsoft ecosystem, then it's a no-brainer. You need to stay trying to really consider Loop or Microsoft products. So the integration is so much more seamless. Notion, extremely versatile and customizable, just like I was saying earlier. You could see that you could, boom, do some quick edits. Let's make that red. Highly customizable and versatile. So this is one of the key differences that you're going to notice when I jump over to Loop is the customizability, versatility, and extensibility. There is a price attached at this moment of this video. These are the prices, but do not hold me to these prices as things change, which is out of my control. So definitely look at the site when you're ready to dig into it. Loop, it comes with your Microsoft subscription. So look at your different packages. Microsoft has its own site where it could help you figure out what best suits you for your needs and your organization. They have a bunch of pricing tools, so take a look. But Loop comes with your Microsoft subscription. Both tools have real-time collaboration, which is extremely useful. Multiple users can jump in and do amazing collaboration together. It, at the moment, Notion has AI, but Loop does not have AI at the moment of this video. But I'm definitely confident that there are going to be some AI features coming to Loop because Microsoft have its Copilot features already being integrated to all of its Office products. So I'm going to leave some of these details in the description of what Notion is, and let's take a look at now Loop. So here we have Loop. I'm going to jump to the home page or dashboard. And as you can see, it's not the same as your Notion. So this is your Notion. It is aggregating information across the different uh, pages and subpages and databases. So it's aggregating information so you could get to the spot and you could kind of have an idea of where to go, what to do, what's going on. But here in Loop, there's none of that. It is really kind of vanilla. I believe this is because it's a new tool. It hasn't been fully developed as yet. But as you can see, Workspaces here is what you would consider this drop down up here. In this workspace, you could jump to different areas. Pages here on your left, you could have your page and then sub pages and links to your different tables and table views. Over here in Loop is considered components and pages. Ideas, um, again, I think this would be considered a page. So they kind of separate it out. So you have your pages. So let's take a look at a workspace because this is what we kind of had before. And we have a sample page, and it has similar setup as Notion. Let's just look for an icon here. Put a cat. Boom. We can get rid of that one. Add a different one. Let's see if I could find a mountain because that's what I had before. All right. There's a mountain. And can I add a cover? All right. Let's see if I could also find a mountain. All right. This one looks, yeah, let's pick the first one. That looks cool. So here we have a mountain. Give it a second. It was just having a moment. Try this again. Mountain. Okay, have to click the add button. There we go. There's my mountain and my icon. Very similar idea here. You have your icon and your backdrop. Very similar. You have your left bar. You have your left bar. So far, a lot of things have been looking to be the same. Let me see. Let me just copy this content here from this page. Highlight all of this. Control C. And I'm just going to do Control V and paste that. All right. It brings in some cool icon. I like how this looks for the links. Content looks very clean, very nice. I like how it does these icons. Very cool. So let's see how it brought things over. So far, it looks really cool. So you may not be using that exact same workflow but I just wanted to highlight and show you what the information looks like. Blue. See if I could have the same color formatting. Yeah, let's also do the red. So you could see red highlights here. So you could have very similar thing. I think I did, very similar, very close. So you could, from the basics of it, you could have a very similar setup. But what are the key differences and what really makes them stand out is one, again, Loop integrates directly into the Microsoft ecosystem. Loop integrates extremely well with OneNote. So if there's some things that are missing from your Notion workflow and you want to replicate that into Loop, remember that this Loop is not just a standalone app that competes directly with Notion. Loop is something that intends to integrate with the entire Microsoft ecosystem. So if you're inside your Outlook, you could bring in a Loop. If you're inside Teams, a Teams meeting, you could bring in a Loop. And again, if you're inside your OneNote, you could bring in a Loop. And a Loop does not exist in one static page place. It exists in like this cloud concept. So okay, there you have it. This is very similar to Notion. Let's try a different example here of what we could do with a Loop page. So let me just insert /. You have that very similar feature from Notion. And you could do a progress tracker. As you can see, this is an example of a database. And you could add the same kind of ideas that you see here in your Notion database look and feel. with your title, status, video date, etc. You could have all of that information very similar. You could replicate that. So far, it seems like it's one to one with many of the user experience and the flow. What are the key differences, though, is maybe how Microsoft is saving its data. That might be a bit too technical, but for the average end user, but for the enterprise user that are trying to look at this, one of the key differences that Microsoft Loop is saving your files to the user's OneDrive location. It's not, and it's also using this thing called Microsoft Graph as well to kind of manage your information. The tool sets that are used to manage this hasn't yet been fully developed. So that's for the enterprise users. There's some caveats and some limitation of how you'd want to manage your user data. So there are some caveats with that. So definitely leave a comment if you want me to go deeper into technical background aspects of the shortfalls behind how Loop is being saved and how it's been managed. So there you have it. This was a quick overview of Microsoft Loop versus Notion. If you'd like to hear more of these content, hit the subscribe and notified button. And thank you for watching.